Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining this beautiful day here in Rotterdam. We are hosted by the city of Rotterdam, and look what a beautiful view we have here of the Erasmus Bridge. It's a great day, and I would like to welcome you for today's first webcast on early school leaving. We'll talk to Frank Schutte later on, and he's got an incredible, cool best practice here in Rotterdam. Later on, we'll switch over to Budapest, and we talk to Zilla and Agnes, and they'll take you through some of the information that's part of the ESL Plus project. Of course, there is plenty of time for Q&A and interaction afterwards as well. But let me talk to you first about ADP and the ESL Plus project. We've been working for a while on this project and basically with two goals. The project is all about delivering a knowledge portal, and Zilla will talk to you about that later on in this webcast. And I will talk to you a little bit about the other goal that we had with ADP, and it is actually to establish a sustainable expert network. As you all know, there are many projects going on in Europe about early school leaving. And unfortunately, what happens is that when the projects finish, when they close, when funding from Europe stops, usually these networks stop. So one of the main goals of ADP is to bring everybody together and have a sustainable network that will be there after all these projects kind of stop and still connect with the right people in Europe. And to do so, we would like to welcome anybody here online to connect with us and start shaping an alliance, a group of people that will stick together for quite a while. So please do send me an email if you want to talk about that and help us establish that. But I do recommend, of course, for sure, that you join our LinkedIn or Facebook social media channels so you can stay with us and stay up to date from now onwards for sure. I will send you the information by email after the webcast for sure. Now, without further ado, we're ready for our first guest. From Rotterdam, so I would like to welcome Frank Schutte, and we'll switch over to his section for today. So Frank, come on here.
Hello.
We'll switch to your deck as soon as we can. So thanks for hosting us here in Rotterdam.
You're very welcome. No problem.
And here we go. Take it away. We'll have questions afterwards.
Okay. Hello everyone, thank you very much for attending my presentation. It's very nice, well, not to see you here, but very nice to have you here in my presentation. And for the next 15 minutes I will tell you a little bit about our project called Road to a Job, because that's all about. Thank you, Peter, for calling it a cool project. I think it is indeed a cool project. And I hope to share some learnings with you this afternoon when we getting started a couple of years ago, and I will show you where we are right now in the moment in the design and on the implementation things, which is not always easy to do. Maybe you can learn about the mistakes maybe we have made and also learn from the good things we did. But well, you will see. First, I will tell you a little bit about the National Urgency Program of South Rotterdam. For a couple of years now, I have been working as a project manager on the career orientation topic for that program. And it's a program especially designed for South Rotterdam, and I will give a little bit insight in the area we are talking about. And of course, I will introduce you to the problem problems we are facing. And after that, I will show you the career path program and the results so far. And of course, we conclude with some learnings. On the picture here, on the photo, you see just a part of South Rotterdam, and it's, I think, about 1/4 of the area. South Rotterdam consists about, well, you can see of 21 districts, and they are all down the river, and this is the river the Maas, well known, I think, and it's also a very important river for the Dutch economy because of the port of Rotterdam, which is very close to Rotterdam, and this river well, is floating into the North Sea, and there is the biggest port of Europe is the port of Rotterdam, and that of course means that there is a lot of jobs, job chances for the people living in Rotterdam, and also for the people in South Rotterdam. And you see some indicators on the left, and it's an area with a lot of poverty, and that means that people need healthcare because of the socio-economic situation in this area. And that also means that there is also a lot of work to do as healthcare givers. So mentioning that are the main job chances, the main sectors with a lot of jobs to do. And the thing is that we see one of the problems is that children are opting for other studies than the studies with many chances. I will show you a bit about that. But first, I will show a little bit about the resident-focused approach. We started with the national program in 2012, and we are going on till 2032 because of the very big area and the big problems which we cannot solve in just a few years. And residence focus means that we are focusing on school, on work, on housing, because that are the three main issues of a people's life, of a person's life. And what we want to do is to improve the school results of the children. And when you are doing better on school, you can getting better paid work and getting better jobs. And if you have a good job, you can afford good housing. And what we want to achieve is that the people who are doing better, that they can stay in Rotterdam South, so that the districts are doing better and better. So one of the issues is also to take care of a good housing situation in this area. But that's for another talk. So what's the problem if we speak about early school leaving, if we speak about the school situation in South Rotterdam? And one of the main things is what we see is that there is a misalignment between what children want to learn or want to do, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, the needs of the labor market. And we already have so many people who are having or are living on the benefits, who they have no jobs, and also their children choose for study programs with less prospects. So that means that we are raising children for new unemployment situation, and also that wrong choices lead also to early school leaving. So what we concluded after analyzing the problems was what we have to do is two things. First, we have to work on better results, that the children are doing better and having better education. But second, which is also very important, that we have to guide them and to give them a career orientation on the jobs with future, with enough chances in the future to get enough jobs. And there are many sectors offering jobs. For example, the Port of Rotterdam, the technical branches, the healthcare branch, the construction branch, logistics, transport. There are a lot of good sectors. So this is a picture where you can see what the chances are for our children. This is explaining the employment 1 year after graduating from vocational education training. The youngsters who choose for a technology education, you can see that 63% have a job after graduating. But the pupils who choose for another study, for example, an economic study or a legal study, and only 40% of them can find work after graduating. So that means that there are some sectors with a lot of chances for them to get work. Well, and that concluded we about 5 years ago, I think. And you see here in the picture some of our stakeholders. In the picture on the left, you see a couple of employers, you see parents, you see the children itself, of course. But in the beginning, we just started with a few people in a room thinking about, well, what's the problem and how do we solve that problem? And when I was asked to work as a project manager for this project, I found there was a plan, but it was well, not very structured, but there were some very good ideas in it. And there were some kind of 5 schools sitting together in a place discussing about what to do with the money which was given by the national government of the Netherlands. And of course, that was our luck because we had some money. And when you have some money, you get to talk about what to do with it. And well, in the beginning, I think there were some ideas, but not very well structured, not very well think about, and we have to dive deeper in the content. Thank you. To make it a better plan. So what I did was make some criteria for giving the schools the money they wanted, and to set up that set of criteria, I have to speak with people who are knowing of this problem and who have some ideas of solving the problem. So I spoke to researchers, to knowledge centers, of course to the schools itself, to the policymakers of the city of Rotterdam, and all together we came up with some ideas with the program, with different interventions which can help, well, could help us to guide the young people in South Rotterdam. And we came up with, we met Marinka Kuipers, one of very well-known researchers in the Netherlands, and she made an instrument called the Career Orientation and Guidance Instrument, and she did some insights of of how you can guide a kid to the next phase in his life. And slowly the national, but also the city of Rotterdam took the insights of Marinka Kuipers as an instrument to prevent the pupils from leaving school early, but also to encourage pupils to opt for sectors with very good job prospects. So what is it? What if you speak about career orientation and career guidance, what have you think about? And well, we as adults, but also the children, have to answer 5 questions. And if you answer that questions all the way your life, you can manage your career. And these are the 5 main questions: what I'm good at, what do I enjoy, but also, and that is the thing we think in South Rotterdam, because of the high unemployability of the people, is very important that we learn the children to think about what are the job chances for me in the near future. Where do I get a job, and how do I get the job? How do I get there, and who can help me to get there. So all these 5 questions you have to answer every now and then to have a good talent orientation. And after we had some ideas and we had the version 1.0 of our plan, we thought, well, we have to set more goals. We have to know where we're working at. And we have to make a comprehensive program. We must design it further. And of course, we have to involve new partners and stakeholders. So our goal, what we set right a couple of years ago, was that we want that 15% of our children choose for healthcare studies, and 35% of our youngsters have to opt for vocational education in the technical sectors. And now we have that the goals we can also manage and see on the numbers if we're getting there. And we decided that we have to implement the program we designed on all the schools, so that all the children can have their chances. And we have 55 elementary schools in South Rotterdam and 20 secondary schools. So that means there are a lot of students going on. Think about that every year start about 1,800 pupils starting on the schools. And of course, well, we started with some funding of the national government, but we had to find new fundings, and we find that in Europe, from the Urban Innovative Actions fundings, and you can see on the website of the UEIA for yourself. It's, I think, a very interesting fund. It funds innovative well, actions, of course, in the big cities in Europe, and it helps solve problems which you cannot solve on your own as a city. And well, we decided that the program must be a consistent program and a long-lasting program. That means that we start the program at age 9 and we only stop helping the children with their career orientation when they are entering the labor market. And in every school year, the children are receiving or having some interventions, some actions, some things which help them to discover the labor market, but also to discover what they like, to discover where they're interested in. And you see here some of the pictures of that interventions. For example, we are practicing job interviews with the children, or we having workshops with André Kuipers, you see on the left picture above. And we're doing workshops on technical experiments, and you also see a picture of professionals sitting together, and they are learning how to help their pupils with choosing the next step in their school careers. So this is the program we came up with. We thought about a program of about 4 main components: exploring, experiencing, reflecting, and choosing. We have, of course, the connection to the labor market and the professionalization. And each of that component has different interventions. And altogether we have 20 interventions which helps us in the career and talent orientation of the children. And the first one is the exploring and experiencing, and I already told you about that a little bit. Children have to explore their interests and to explore the job market, and of course we focus on the jobs with high chances for in the future for our children raising now. And you can think about visits to the port of Rotterdam, visits to healthcare institutions, and more of that, think workshops, technical workshops, Let's get some information evenings also for children and their parents about what are the good studies to do. But only exploring and only experiencing, we think that's not enough. You also have to do, you have to reflect your mind on what you have experienced. So we help the people with reflecting, with thinking about what do I have learned yesterday or last week? What did I have see in the port? Is it something what I like to do, or is it something which I think is interesting for me as to explore further? So in this intervention, we have some career orientation interviews between the teacher, the pupil, and the parents of the pupil. And the pupil tell to the teacher and tell to his parents about what he has experienced and what he likes to do. And so the pupil, for him or herself, is in charge of his career, and the professional is helping him. And that's not always easy for a professional, for a teacher, because many teachers are used to send the information about what the children have to learn. And therefore we help the professionals with the interviews. We give them trainings in how to interview a child on his career. And the connection to the labor market is an element we are implementing right now. We are trying to get the 21st century skills or the life skills into the curricula of the schools, so children learn more about employee skills and to get good on the job market. And after that whole bunch of activities from age 9 till 15, till the children, the pupils, have to choose for a vocational education training. We offer some career starting guarantees, and that means that employers who are in need of new employees in the near future give the guarantee to the pupils of South Rotterdam that they can start their work career at the employee, at that employer, at the company of that employer. And right now we have almost 500 of that guarantees available, and our target is to get 600 available. So that means that for about half of the students who are following vocational education, we can guarantee that they have a job after graduating. And of course, this is available for the students who are choosing for the sectors with many job opportunities, and the sectors with healthcare, Port of Rotterdam, the technical sector, food industry, transport, construction. And of course, it's not available in administration or in legal because there's no work, or almost no work. So what we reached for now is, I think, well, I'm pretty proud of it, because all 55 primary schools are now involved in the program, and all the secondary schools and all of the most important institutes for vocational education. But we have also many employers involved in our program. As you see, we are going to the companies for short visits with the children, and almost 400 companies are participating in that career orientation program. And we have, of course, all the interventions who has to be managed. So we have many partners and many stakeholders in our approach to help the children in their career orientation. But that does not mean that it's all going very smooth, of course. And I think for me, the most difficult is to implement the program on the schools. You see all the schools are doing something, but most of the schools are doing just a few of the interventions, and they do all the interventions, because only a few interventions does not work enough. So we made some agreements with school boards that all the schools are implementing the whole program. But our schools in the Netherlands have kind of an autonomy. They are very free in choosing what they're doing in the curriculum, and it's not very easy to convince the schools, or not all the schools, about the program and what we are doing and want to do. But that's one of our biggest issues, and the thing where I'm working at most of it, my time on.
Cool. Thank you very much, Frank. Excellent insights. You guys do an amazing job reaching 16,000 students every year, a couple of times.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, you know, the key learnings. If you were moving to Munich or to Paris, and you were put down in an area where where there was a lot of unemployment, and early school leaving rates were like twice the average of the nation. If you have to do it again, what would you do different? What are the key learnings?
Well, as I said on the end of my presentation, was that it's not very easy to convince the schools to go along with this program. So I think many schools think it's something they have to do extra, or it is something on top of their curriculum. But I think helping children in choosing the right way, in choosing studies and choosing vocational education with many chances on the labor market in the future, is something is in the core of the school. Right. I think, and I think you have to make it your policy as a school, but also the policy maybe of your government or your city, that all schools are not only working on getting the diplomas of the children, but they are also working on getting jobs and after graduating.
In some countries it's easier than in others, and as you said, in the Netherlands, the school leaders have a very high degree of autonomy to decide what they do. So how do you convince them then? You know, what do you do? What do you?
I'm always telling some facts. So I show the facts about the poverty in South Rotterdam, the facts about the people who don't have a job.
Right.
In some areas we have 20% of the inhabitants don't have a job.
Right.
So that's the situation right now. And if you do nothing, we get the same.
Right.
And we have many researchers on this subject, and it is true that in some sectors the chances for pupils to get a job are much more higher.
Right.
So, well, I think
facts
do
the work. I get it.
To do the work. I hope so.
Any other insights you would like to share before we move on to our next topic?
Yes, I'm working in the program now for 5 years. That's, I think, a very long time, and it's not finished yet. So I have to be persistent in my approach, and I always tell myself, Frank, go on and be persistent, have some patience, it will be okay. But it's not done in just a few
well, clearly, you know, trying to implement a program at this kind of scale, it needs a bit of time, it needs a bit of money, and it needs a lot of persistence. I hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much for your presentation today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll talk later. I'm going to switch over very quickly now to Budapest, and we have Tsila Szabo ready to talk about the ESL Plus project.
Yes, hi Peter, I'm ready.
There you are. Perfect. Can you switch off your video as well?
I share my screen and
so we can see you.
Yes, this one.
There you go.
Okay.
Now we can't see you, but it's all right. We'll.
Yeah, you can see me as well. I'm sorry. Yeah, so.
Well, we can hear you loud and clear.
You cannot start because. No, I can't because my host stopped my video, but it doesn't matter. I can take this presentation without showing my face, if you don't mind. Hi everyone. Welcome to this webinar, ESL Plus webinar from my side too. This is Csilla Szabó from Hungary, and from Tempus Public Foundation, the coordinator institution of ESL Plus project. And I will present you one of the main results of the project. Peter showed you two results, a community, an association, an ESL community, the ADP association, and another result is a portal that I will present you now. Because this portal now is open, is ready for your visit, for your use, but still under development. So I will show you the parts, the elements of the portal, and I will show you some functions that will follow in the near future. So you can see them soon, but at this moment you can't check them out. Only only 4 other parts that I will present you. So first of all, just a couple of words about the project itself. This is the ESL Plus project, supported or founded by the European Commission through the Erasmus Plus program, the Key Action, under Key Action 3. And it's about early school leaving, helping practitioners and policymakers reducing early school leaving. So talking about the importance of early school leaving is not a question. I think it's important, and talking about reducing early school leaving is again obvious. And I think all that we are here know the complexity of this issue, and we know well that it is not rooted only in school life, only in schools, but it concerns many other aspects of children's life from their early ages. So we know well the long-term negative socioeconomic effects of this issue. So that is why we deal with this issue in this project. And as Peter mentioned in his presentation, that there are so many other projects in Europe. There have been in the past, at the present, and there will be in the future so many other projects dealing with this issue. And there are so many good examples that practitioners, teachers, school leaders, other colleague staffs of organizations around the schools and around the learners have. So that's why we decided to develop a portal in this project to collect these results and to publish them at one place for those practitioners who are concerned by this issue, and not just collect these results and examples or practices, but we would like to give them chance to have a community where they can meet their peers, where they can learn from each other, they can share their experiences. So that is why we built these two project results, the portal and the Alliance for Dropout Prevention in Europe. So this is the ESL community, what Peter mentioned as well. And he mentioned the partners as well, so I wouldn't name them one by one. I just want to highlight one feature, that each of them, or each of us within this project is in close connection with actors of education, and each of us has a special expertise that guarantees the high quality content on the portal. So we are working on this, and we are working in favor of this. And now a couple of words about the portal. Let me show you some parts of it here in a static picture, and then I will navigate to the portal itself, and I will show you how it works at this moment. So this portal is as complex as the early school living issue as well, in a very positive way. You can find, as I mentioned, good practices there. There is a good practice repository, a structured good practice repository where you can download the good practices of practitioners, and you can upload as well your one. So it's open to you, this portal, and we would be happy, and the ESL community would be happy to read your experiences as well. So if you have any, share it on the portal, and if you don't have, but if you are looking for one, just consult the portal and download what practice is good for you. You will find personal stories of students, teachers that can inspire you during your work, and you will find a library for getting to know more about the ESL issue itself. You will find, or you find at this moment too, research papers, national and international policy papers, studies there, just to help you in your work, to help the contextual part of your work in this issue. You can join the network, the ADP network, the ESL network, through the portal as well. And let me highlight the footer, because just like I mentioned that there are other projects in this issue. Tempus Public Foundation, the coordinator organization, has another predecessor project in early school living. I mean, dealing with early school living. This was the Crocus Prevent Dropout project. It focused on developing an early warning system for schools, so for institutional level. So you can reach, for example, the results of this project from this website, from the footer, and from the good practice repository as well. The results, I mean, a guideline how to develop an early warning system in your institution, a toolbox for this, and a resource pool. So again, background information, studies, and other information about early school leaving. And of course, Peter mentioned the social media channels. So if you want to join the network, you can connect yourself through the social media channels on the portal as well. And let me show you a part that will follow. So you can't see it at this moment on the portal, but you will find it late spring or in early summer. It's an interactive statistics part of the portal. It's very interesting. It can be very interesting for researchers or policymakers, and of course for practitioners as well, just to know more about early school leaving in your country, or just to compare it, compare the data to the data of another country. So if you select different variables in one page, you will find, you will get designed an interactive chart, or not interactive, but visualized charts and graphs. So it compares the data and give you a country context about the data and about the country, about the ESL situation of the certain country. So that is about the portal content. And let me invite you to join us, as invited you as Peter invited you to join us, to join the network, and to join as a kind of co-editor of the portal. So check it out, try it, consult or visit the portal, and if you feel you have a good practice, you have an example worth to share it. or if you have a story, a personal story worth to share, share it on the portal and download others' examples. And at this moment, let me navigate you to the portal itself just for 2 minutes. So if you type the eslplus.eu, you will find yourself here at the homepage of the portal, and you can find the parts here where what I presented you, what I mentioned. Supposing that you are a school leader from Sweden and you are looking for good practices that can support your students' behavior, you can search, for example, a Swedish example by keywords, by target group, by country, and you will find this good example that is about student coach, a new function in a school. It's very special and a special example from Sweden. And let me show you how a good example built, or what part it has, what parts it has. You will find an abstract at the beginning. It shortly summarizes the good example itself. And of course, you can read about the context, so you can compare it to your context, your background, your school, your situation. You can read about why these good practice holders launched this, for example, in this case, the student coach in their school. What did they do? How they launched this new function at school level? What a student coach does? What is their tasks? With who they cooperate during the school life and in favor of the students. You can read about key factors for the success, for their success, so you can learn a lot about and you can learn a lot from these information. And as Peter and Frank mentioned, that facts do their work. There are facts in the good examples as well that can convince you that it is good, or it was successful in the given school. For example, this new function were launched for 1.5 years in this certain school, and the student coach dealt with 41 students, and none of them had dropped out from the school. So it can convince you, it can convince anyone about the importance of a student coach. At the same time, you can learn about the lessons learned, the risk factors, and the resources needed. That is important information for you if you want to launch a new thing, a new function, for example, in your school. And just a couple of words about the related content and how these connected to the good examples. You can find videos about the same topic. For example, there is a video about a girl, a student, who talks about their student coach, who talks about her experiences, and she tells why she stay in the school. Because of the help of the student coach. You can submit your own video, and you can submit your own good practice by just clicking on the relevant button. And in the library, you can find the relevant, as I mentioned, documents. So if you want to search by their title or just read them, you can find, for example, on behavior and discipline in schools, advice for head teachers and school staff. So it can be relevant in your situation, but you can search by other aspects too. So and just another feature, you can reach now in 3 languages the portal, but in the future it will be a 4-language portal. Romanian language will be read as well. So join us, and if you have any questions, just ask me after the other presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cilla. We are moving on rapidly to our next speaker, and that is Agnes from Romania. sorry, from Hungary as well. Let me bring her in. Oh, there we go. Agnes, can you share your presentation and take over from Cilla here?
Yes, sure, I'm starting.
And there you go, your video as well. Perfect. Take it away.
And okay, I hope it works. Can you see my slides? So can you see my slide?
Not yet. We can see you when you talk, though.
Ah, okay, okay, just one. Now maybe, is it?
There you go, perfect, yeah.
Okay, so now I shared it accordingly, and hopefully, okay, yeah, now it works. Okay, so last but not least, a short presentation about a new application, a new tool. As Peter mentioned, my name is Agnes Balla, and I'm representing also a Hungarian partner in this Erasmus, in this early school leaving plus project funded from Erasmus Plus funds. And our task and the thing that I would like to recommend you and raise your attention is a mobile application which tries to summarize what Cilla mentioned in her previous presentation and what, for example, Frank, as a good example holder or as a good example presenter, also mentioned that we tried to build our expertise and our experiences and summarize all these good examples within one tool. And this is a mobile application. And let's go further. I think, yeah, I tried to, okay, hide all these videos. So just some short sentences about the aim of this application, because the aim of this mobile application, so it's for mobile phones, it's a self-learning tool. So we try to give decision makers, especially, a kind of a tool which help them to widen their knowledge on early school living, and especially how to track, how to prevent, and how to intervene before this thing happens. It's called a game, but it can be a bit misleading, of course. It's not really a game, it's a serious topic itself. And it's about all the data, all information, and good practices that help give background information for decision makers to widen their knowledge on that topic. We hope it also helps and motivate the participants, the users, for further learning. And as Cilla mentioned, the ESL Plus, so the Early School Leaving Plus portal, which is a very rich portal with several different good practices and interactive tools, it's interlinked with it. So it means that the whole portal can be in your pocket, and the whole portal is summarized in your mobile phone with the help of this mobile application. And you can kind of play with it, but of course at the same time you can learn with it. And the innovative thing within the mobile application or beyond the mobile application is the target group, because gamification usually targets children, students, and of course the teachers on the other side who provide it as a learning tool. Here in this project, we provide this mobile application for policymakers, for decision makers, regardless their decision-making level. So it's for national or regional decision makers or decision makers at local or even at school level. So our main target these wide range of people all over Europe. But of course, the tool, this mobile application, is open for teachers as well, and whoever is interested in the topic and works in the field of education and training. Because some educational background might be necessary when you try to play and try to learn in this topic, just to have, you know, the basic background information. Just a short summary about the modules of this mobile application to raise your attention. Some of the topics might catch your attention, and you can go deeper in the topics when you play with this mobile application. For example, just highlight a few, not to list all of them. For example, my country part is when you can get information about your country, of course, in educational and in early school living context, and test your knowledge on that. For example, the EU benchmarks and the terminology can be interesting because you can get information on these topics and put your country into European context, which can be very interesting to compare your country's data with other data or with EU or OECD averages. And you don't have to look them into different portals, but you can get them through this mobile application. Or the other that I would like to highlight from this list is the strengthening attitudes and how to tackle with early school living modules, because it gives you more in-depth knowledge on the topic, and those modules which contains data and information, they are rather how to say, hard topics, so there are right and wrong answers, whether you know these benchmarks or whether you know these indicators. But for example, how to tackle with early school living, there's no really right or wrong answers. It's rather about opinions, it's rather about possible schemes, it's about possible solutions. For example, as it was mentioned by Frank in the first presentation, that this is one way to solve the problem or handle the problem, but there can be several ways, and it's really a wide or complex topic, from starting from really the lifelong guidance, even including the school atmosphere or the teacher student or teacher parents relationship. So it's very a complex topic, and here in this module, we try to summarize all these information and good examples as possible solutions for the users, for the, let's call it, gamers who use this mobile application. So it's not really about telling you the right or the wrong answers, but it's rather about giving you a wider overview, which is hopefully wider than you had before. Here are some just photos of the mobile application, and just to get you some glimpse to the development, I share you some of the questions. For example, as I mentioned, you can compare your country's data with other countries' data, and not only directly about early school living, but for example, youth unemployment or NEET levels. So we try to understand this complex issue in a wider range of data. Or for example, here is another question about the trainings which can raise the awareness on the risk of early school living. It can be very different from conflict management to how to manage an early warning system. So this is just some short examples, and the part which is about more student-related examples. I also bring you some questions. You can choose a character in the game and try to save him or her when she or he faces with different complex issues before when there is a risk of early school leaving, and then you as a user of the mobile application can decide in this situation according to your best expertise, of course, how to solve the problem. For example, as you can see, when the student is not really interested all the part of the chosen profession and would like to change, and how the system can help him or her to find a solution. Or, for example, when there is a conflict during apprenticeship and it might risk the students' studies, and the school should act, and it's your decision based on your previous experiences how to solve this situation. So these were the possible questions of this mobile application. And the end, the mobile application gives you advice or summarizes your strengths on the topic of early school leaving, and of course summarizes or give you an overview on those information which might need to be updated. And of course, you can go to the ESL Plus portal to update your knowledge or widen your knowledge and get new information. And about the release, we plan to release this application in May, so within a month. And I would like to encourage you to join the testing phase. So if you are interested in the topic itself, and you are interested in a mobile application and gamification and how to use this kind of tools with a serious topic and with early school leaving, we are happy to get you on board and invite you for participate in the testing. If you are interested, you can see my email address and send me an email, or I'm ready to answer your questions after the webinar or in the question and answer part of the webinar. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope you like this or will like this mobile application, and we will invite you to use this tool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Agnes. A great story. In the interest of time, I think we need to quickly move on to our last slide, and thank everybody who joined us today, listening to the sessions, but also presenting the sessions. We are planning another webcast just before the summer. And if you want to be featured with a case study or with an interesting ESL story, then please do contact me at any time, and we can work together. We'll definitely share a recording of this webinar that you can send to your colleagues or other people that you think might be interested in this topic. Once again, please do connect to our LinkedIn or Facebook channels. And if you would like to talk to us about broadening the ADPE network in Europe and make this a more sustainable group of people that sticks together even after some of these projects will end, then please do connect with me at any time. This was Rotterdam. Thanks for your time. Stay in touch and talk to you soon.